Hey everyone, many blessings. I am coming at you with another message. And I guess the title of this message is this is a warning to you guys to not succumb to the wiles of the devil, the enemy. Because what I've learned is throughout my entire life, when I've fallen short, when I've fallen behind, the enemy will use you, to convince you to do certain things. And then when you try to come out of that, he will then use that against you. And I mean, this has been throughout my life. This has happened, you know, um, so my warning is just never to succumb to the wiles of the devil, because he will always use your weakest points, your weakest times against you. And this, like I said, this has been played out throughout my life. Like, if you go back and watch all my past videos, you learn more about me and what I've overcome. Even just a few years ago, it had to be like 2 or 3 years ago, I had I was going through some real issues, some real things. And, the devil knew I was at my weak point. And, he used me there, and I did fall short for a while. But the crazy part is that Yahusha came to me a month before that, and he told me, and this was right. It's crazy because it was right before I was getting ready to get in the shower. But he came to me and he told me that I would be going on a mission for him, and he told me that I could do it. So he had warned me ahead of time that I was going on a secret mission. And needless to say, a month later, a bunch of craziness happened. I was contacted by people, and then all the craziness happened. So even when you're going through troubled waters, don't be too troubled, especially when you have been called by Yahuwah to go through something. And you always got to go through something to get to someplace else. I mean, the Bible is prime examples of prophets being put through stormy waters, through fires, to be tested. So everybody has their test. And to me, that was like one of my biggest tests was about 2.5, 3 years ago. That was my test. But everything proves valid and solid, because honestly, throughout that time, I stayed solid. I stayed true. And, the things I did do, it was all out of sympathy. It was all out of empathy. At one point I thought this person was dying, literally dying, going to die. And that's the tricks and the wiles of Satan, to get you caught up. So needless to say, I really don't feel bad, because like I said, like in my past videos, I have been modeling for some time, so I didn't feel too bad about it. And still today, I don't feel bad. Like, the enemy will try to make you feel some type of way for what you did, but I knew I did it out of the kindness of my heart, because I literally thought that this person was on their deathbed. They were dying. And I thought that they had meant something, more to me, something special to me. So, I really don't feel bad to this day, and I won't feel bad for it, because Yahusha has told me not to feel bad for it, and that, he was using me, because I guess, I don't know, he was using me to find out some information about something. So I can't feel too bad about it. And honestly, like I talked about before, the problem is lust. That's the real problem, because when Adam and Eve was in the garden, there was no sin in the world. So they were walking around naked. Sin entered the world after they ate of the fruit. And like I said, the biggest sin is lust. And no matter what someone wears, no matter what a woman wears, a man wears, the sin is lust. And that's one of the biggest lusts that we have. So really people need to nip it in the bud. Everybody tries to cover up lust and say, oh, it's because you're wearing, it's because this. No, it's not because of what people are wearing necessarily. It's because your sinful nature. It's because of your lust. And no matter how much you cover it up, it's still going to be there, you know, until you deal with the real problem, which is lust. Because before sin entered the world through Adam and Eve, they could walk around butt booty naked and be just fine because they were living in a sin. They had their sin-free nature. The sin comes in with lust. Even now you see these tribes in different places and they literally have on nothing but a G-string, or, you know, and that's just them. You know, they don't even think any differently because the sin of lust hasn't been put into them. You know, that's just their natural state. There's tribes to this day still walking around pretty much naked, and that's normal to them. So that's just what I wanted. That's something I want to put into perspective, is that no matter how you try to cover up yourself, you still need to deal with the problem of lust. Because there's women walking around with nothing but their eyes seen, and they're still getting raped every single day. And another thing I want to touch base on, is that, yeah, pretty much anything you do when you fall short, Satan will try to use it against you or whatever. But just stay strong and just know that you have Yahuwah, and that, you know, your heart is pure. And that's all that matters, because it's not what anybody else thinks. It's about your journey, your relationship with God, and you getting into heaven, whether they want to go or not. You know, they can burn in hell for eternity, you know, as long as you do what you have to do. And they probably, at the end of it all, it won't be like you can't say they didn't deserve it, you know, especially if they go through all the things that they go through just to bring you down. I think that's pretty much what I had to say. You know, always listen to Yahuwah. You know, he may be giving you a test because he's needing to use you. He's using you, but he also wants to see how you maintain through the test. Will you drown, or will you, you know, stand? Will you stand the storms? So that's just the message. Many blessings. Another thing I wanted to add to that is, literally, I spent a lot of my childhood just dreaming and wanting to be like these celebrities, these artists, wanting to meet these artists, wanting to, you know, even date these artists and all these things. And look how good God is. Like, it wasn't until I started growing spiritually, you know, and I started getting a close relationship to God. And now look how the tables have turned. You know, you might not see it, but I see it. You know, look at how the tables are turned, to where, you know, you're literally being stalked by them, you know, to where they can't let it go. So look how magnificent God is. These people that should have everything in the world, now they can't seem to let you go, you know. And when all you've ever wanted, all you've ever dreamed of is, you know, being like them and being, you know, knowing them and envying them. And now look, God is good. That's all I have to say. And I'm going to keep saying it, because he keeps proving to me how awesome he is, that you can have everything in the world and still be looking to someone who has God. God is amazing. Blessings. Last thing, I just want to put out there that in the Bible, God created Eve to be a helpmate, a helper. Know that there's a difference between a helpmate, a helper, and a servant. I'm not going to give y'all the definitions. Y'all look up the definitions on your own time. But there's a difference between a helper, someone there to help you, an equal that's there to help you, and a servant. Those are two different things. So get it together, men and women. Learn the difference between a helper and a servant. God bless y'all.